Okay, you're asking me about the work here in this favela and in the other favelas in this city of Sao Paulo. And my role, as I see it, as a priest, for example, is not to preach religion, but to following the method of Paulo Freire, to listen to the people, listen to their language. What language are they using? How are they describing their problems, their living conditions, the violence that they have to endure, gun violence, gang violence, police violence, the violence of living on the margins, of being socially outcast. All of this. How do you create an awareness, or help to create an awareness? Not something you impose on anybody, but together you try to find as a form of awareness, awareness creating, so that people themselves come to realize that they not only are they oppressed, but that they are capable of overcoming this oppression. And how do you do that? Well, if Paulo Freire's method is to be followed, it is that you find the basic conditions of communication in which they feel they're able to express themselves, and they don't feel that you are in charge or you're the one who's going to fix it, and they can't fix it because they're too poor or because they never went to school, as they'll tell you. We never went to school, so we don't know. You did, so you know. Well, how do you break down this barrier and not become the one who fixes everything? Well, according to Freire, you break it down by listening and then by relating to the vocabulary that they express their life in. And this vocabulary is something that then you can, if you like, more or less not go outside of, but at the same time try and convince them or allow them to see that it's together we can look for a way, if they know what the problems are, and if they express these problems, and if they don't want to be any more enslaved by them. So let's find a way, okay? So this is the way we made progress in implanting a sewerage system in a place that was absolutely shocking, and which some big shot could come in and fix, according to them, in their original way of thinking. But eventually they realized, no, we are able to do something here ourselves. We don't like the rats around, so how do we get rid of them? So together they can do things, I can do things, and in a movement that's bringing us all together, we can begin a process of together breaking this impasse of misery and of subjection and of being kind of condemned forever to be nobody, right? So in that process, okay, these people, they have a religious faith. This is also something that can help them if this faith is transformed into an instrument of change rather than an instrument of oppression, which in many cases religion is used for, as is politics used for. So allow liberation to flourish through this empowerment that your faith can give you. And then you'll begin to see changes that will empower you to go on to other things. So this in essence is what I've tried to engage in since my time here, which is a long time ago now. But since then, we've been able to create a whole movement in many favelas of this city, where people have come on board and been able to create an awareness that has been key and vital to the changes that have happened, to being listened to. For example, the big thing that is new is now they are listened to, whereas before they were simply suppressed. And if you are listened to, you command respect, and you can demand change, and you can demand to participate in that change. And this is transformation.
Can you now relate to the Tamil movement?
Okay, well, in regard to the Tamil movement and the Tamil situation, it's a similar process. Liberation doesn't come from the top. Liberation will come from the awareness that you have the power to change things. But you need a pedagogy that is able to, let's say, look at what the issues are, that you are also all participating in a way that empowers everybody, and then you demand the change and you sit at the table as equal partners in order for this change to happen. But this only happens over time. Don't expect, I mean, many revolutions start with the idea that they will bring this change by the gun, and maybe tomorrow or next week or next month. It doesn't happen that way. The real revolution takes time. And the real revolution is also an empowerment of everybody who participates in it.
Can you maybe add this, that you hope that the People's Tribunal in Berlin and Sri Lanka will give the space to start such a process?
Yeah. Well, I hope the People's Tribunal, for Sri Lanka, which begins in Germany, right? That it will be a moment where people who have suffered through many years of conflict and are now mature in experience and in the tragedies that have happened, that they don't want anymore to be suffocated by bureaucracy or suffocated by, the demands of a state who will not give them rights that they need and that they are entitled to. So that a sense of collaboration may develop to the point where people have a right to their autonomy as a culture, and that this autonomy will be recognized not as some kind of a deformation or as an unacceptable thing within a state, but as a richness, as a contribution to the whole wealth of the people's culture and politics.